Again, and welcome to another edition of The Aftermath. Today, we're going to go somewhere completely different. We're looking at the question of stewardship and ESG. And to help me pass through this topic, I have David Sheasby, who's head of stewardship and ESG at Martin Currie. David, really good to see you.
Very good to see you also, Kim, and compliment you on the shirt. Fantastic.
That's so kind of you, David. Now, let's just dive in here. The first question, I guess, is a reflection, really. And that is the reflection I'd make is that COVID-19 so far has proved to be an accelerant of trends that were arguably already on course in every aspect almost of society and the economy worldwide. What have been the big takeaways for you in the space of ESG and stewardship?
So I think if we think about kind of what's happened over the course of the last few months, I think there's been a real change in terms of focus for how investors and asset owners are thinking about companies and to an extent their behaviours. So I think what's really been in evidence over the course of the crisis so far is that companies have been able to demonstrate the extent to which they are really acting as responsible business owners, and in particular how they're treating their employees, kind of what kind of facilities they've made available, and how they've actually acted. And so, if anything, I think if we think about E, S, and G, I think the S has really come to the fore over the last few months.
Tell me, are there any countries or regions that are showing particularly strong policy signals at this time?
Well, I think then we can potentially turn to one of the other aspects of ESG. So, as I mentioned, the S has really come to the fore in terms of how companies have behaved. But actually, what people have been maybe a bit concerned about is there's been a lot of sight of clearly a systemic issue, which is climate change. And so actually what we've seen is a re-emphasis in some areas on the E. So actually for example, particularly in somewhere like Europe. So in Europe, we've seen the Green Deal, which has been announced, and also the stimulus package more broadly, which both have elements of support for climate change initiatives. And the EU has really stood out in terms of wanting to stimulate the economy, but at the same time set out its ambitions to try and achieve the goal of net zero by 2050.
Yeah, okay, that all makes sense, David. Now, this morning I came across a number around about $21 billion, which is the net inflows in the US only for the first half of this year into funds that are labeled ESG. Green. What would you say to an investor, be they an individual investor or an asset owner, who really wants to maximize the impact of their investment?
So I think it's thinking about kind of what you want to achieve, and what particularly you're interested in and targeting. Now, one framework I think that's very helpful in terms of thinking about the impact of investments as we look out over the next 10 years is the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So clearly those are kind of priorities for governments. They will also form part of policy as we look forward. And I think in a way that's going to be an interesting way for us as investors and for the asset owners to kind of frame that impact. And one piece of work that we're doing at the moment is looking at how we map the investments that we're making on behalf of clients to those sustainable development goals. And I think that's going to be a really important development over the next 10 years.
Okay, that all makes sense, David. Now, I can't let you go without asking you to comment on Martin Currie's recent award of A+ from the PRI. Give us a soundbite.
Well, we are very pleased. It's 4 years in a row that we've achieved the top A+ ratings across the three pillars that we're assessed on, and it's really down, I think, to hard work across the team. So for me, a thank you to the team as well. So, but some great work.
Well, thank you for that, David. It's been very useful and very helpful at understanding the picture up to date. Thank you all for tuning in, and please come back again next week. We'll have something completely different.